Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here on a Saturday, gang. So glad to see you all. It's going to check in. Listen, if you have any questions, please make sure you put them in the chat privately, or you can message me or my team members. You'll see H&E team here to support you as well. So let's hit it. We are going to talk about, I'm going to give you my 5-step law firm freedom framework today that we use inside Law Firm Admin Bootcamp so you can start building a team that runs the firm, not just works in it. And I'm excited about today because I'm going to show you how it's possible. If you stay with me until the end, my goal is to end at top of the hour. I know it's a Saturday. We can all get out of here. Hopefully you have something fun planned for after today's presentation. And so you stay with me until the end and we will give you our 5-step law firm freedom framework. Guide after, and it'll be emailed to you after today's presentation. I see in the chat, yes, 100% this will be recorded, and we'll send this to you as well too. Hopefully you're going to share it with your team after Monday. So let's hit it. Let me tell you a little bit about my story, and hopefully it will resonate with you to share with you what is possible. So when I hit the scene of a legal assistant back in 1996 at the tender age of 26 going on 27, I was very, very fortunate to work for an attorney who was a coach to the bone. He was classically trained. He went through Hoffman Institute, Landmark Education, Strategic Coach. He had been through every coaching program back then in 1997 when coaching was not a street term. Definitely not in the legal space. Attorneys did not invest in business development, personal development, and really running their law firm like a business versus just a law firm. So I was assigned to him, and we were brought into a national organization to launch the first coaching program. And for me, it was great because I came in with employee mentality. Do what you're told, keep your mouth shut, and you'll be rewarded with a paycheck at the end. And the greatest gift that my attorney gave to me was to share, I want you to follow me around for one solid week and see my life. See, and at the end, we debrief. I'm like in tears. You didn't have time to go to the bathroom. You didn't even have to, every time you came out of a client meeting, there were a line of team members standing at your door waiting to delegate back up to you, peppering you, hammering you with questions. And I saw him like, nobody has your back, nobody has your front. And he's like, exactly. This is what the difference that I need in my firm is somebody to really protect my time, protect my energy. And he really taught me what it means to be an entrepreneur in an entrepreneur's world. So we launched our first coaching program back in 98, I think it was 1998. And back then, everybody would shut down their firm. They would get on an airplane. We were in San Diego for the very first coaching program. We had 77 attorneys there. Very happy with the turnout. And it was interesting because my job was to be the administrative assistant, greet them, client service, make sure they're cared for, name tags, all the things. And what had happened is that, oh, forgetting, what had happened for me is that I realized when I would go to the coffee breaks and lunch breaks and what have you with the attorneys and be like, tell me a little bit about your practice. And they'd say business would be great, but for the employees. And the same thing I witnessed with my attorney. And we'd hear this over and over and over again. And you see here on the screen, some of you might recognize Lainey here with the short blonde hair. Lainey was my cohort and she ran his law firm. And I started to run the coaching program for him. And he said, okay, great. You guys start a training program, a coaching program for administrative assistants. Everything that I've taught you on what it means to support me as an attorney, as an entrepreneur, also having a coaching business back then. And so we developed the very first, this about 1999 key assistant training program was what it called. And today the evolution of it is the law firm admin bootcamp. And what we were finding is from the team members, they say, we're so delighted to be part of this process because I don't know if this resonates with any of you or you've heard this from your team members. Attorneys were going to conferences everywhere. And then they'd come back, they're pumped. They had all the how they're going to 10x, 2x, everything they're going to do to change your practice, change your life, everything. And they'd come back, and how it landed for the support team members was the attorney was coming back with their shiny binders, their strategic roadmaps, their notes, what have you. And that felt like to team members, the attorneys were dumping it on their desk and say, here, read this, implement it, and fix all the problems in the business. There was no context. There was no why. There was no coaching. There were no safety nets. There were nothing for the support team members to get it in their bones and blood and really, truly step up and lead. And what had happened is the attorney felt like the kid come back from a circus with the balloon, and they walk in, they were so excited, biggest smile on their face, and the team members had a pin and popped the balloon, and everything deflated that they just learned for the 3 days a week, what have you, that they were out of the office. So many of you do not have the gift, the training, the time, the wherewithal to become a class action coach to the bone. And that's no shame or blame there. But I was fortunate to have that within my attorney. And many of you invest in business coaching and exit strategy planning, things of that nature. But you cannot get traction because your team members, which I believe are the most important piece in regards to you accomplishing your goals, are not quote unquote getting it. So that's what I'm really here today to support you with, of teaching you how and what's possible for them to get it, because I see every single day for the past going on 29 years now, brilliant attorneys burning out, way past burnout or on the brink of it, and trying to run the business and the quote unquote law firm, the legal pieces of it, and they can't get the two to mesh because they were never trained how to manage and lead a team. And I see this all the time on social media or hearing from attorneys. Yeah, I'm going to this conference to become an amazing leader, to learn how to manage and lead my team. I'm like, that's not your job. If you really want to invest in becoming the world's best leader, office manager, general manager, you'd be applying for a job at Chili's. No, that's not the highest use of your time. How about we reverse engineer this and hire the right people who GWC get it, want it, have the capacity for it. And then we train them to give you back your lives. We train them to manage and lead. And you get to step in the role as a visionary, as an entrepreneur. And stop wasting your time on how to become a great manager and leader. It's not a good use of your time. Be a great entrepreneur and visionary, and hire the right people, empower the right people. And my guess, if you're like all the 5,000 plus law firms that we work with, you have a sleeping giant sitting in your office today. They might be showing up like, good enough employee, so, they're better than nothing, or you're not sure. My goal is after today, you walk into your office Monday morning, and by the end of the week, end of next week, you are incredibly sure because you had the courageous conversation, which I'm going to give you a framework today to be able to have that conversation. So I talked a little bit about my journey. I'm going on 29 years now, serving as a fractional CEO, CMO, and my favorite bullet point here in my resume is really leadership strategist for scaling law firms, taking it from the employee side. There's no shortage of business coaches out there for you guys. There's no shortage of organizations. I taught attorneys in 9 different legal organizations. I want to get right to the heart, to the critical team member within your firm, which is your employees, and whatever terminology resonates with you, virtual assistant, BA, independent contractor, what have you. So before we start, I want you to really give yourself the gift and the grace. So many of you had emailed me, thank you, that you were going to miss today because family obligations, which I love, family comes first. But like I said, my goal is to get you out of here within an hour or so. We at least get to Q&A in regards to that. So give yourself the time. Let us have the next 50, 60 minutes together, and you walk out feeling hopeful. beyond hopeful that you actually have a path and plan. So I want to ask you, how many interruptions did you all have yesterday? Maybe even today, when it's a day that you're supposed to be quote unquote off, and you got peppered with questions from clients or prospective clients, or found emails within your email. If you're like many of the attorneys that we talk with, we start having them track their interruptions. In day one of Law Firm Admin Bootcamp from the last cohort, I had an attorney email me at 10:20 a.m. on a Monday and said, I started my homework. I started tracking at 27 interruptions, and I've been in the office for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Maybe this resonates with you. How many of you does your team consistently bring you solutions, or are they bringing you buckets of more problems? Are they communicating and speaking in proposed solutions, or constantly peppering you with got minutes and questions? How many systems in your law firm only live in your head? Or even worse, maybe your oldest employee, not by age, but by years of service, that everything is tribal knowledge for them. What could your firm achieve if your team took true ownership for 90 days of your people, of your process, of your production, which is the only way you get to profitability, and you focus on your KPIs in your job description as a visionary, and some of you are still serving as the attorney, meaning counseling clients, and you still, quote unquote, owe the file. You might be wondering, why can't my team operate like that? Come to me with proposed solutions. Stop with the got a minute. Stop with the feedback loops. What would it take for us to get there? When I ask those questions next time in 12 weeks from now, and you're like, no, no interruptions today. They were all batched in our daily huddle, and they ran it like a locker room huddle before we went on that Super Bowl playing field. You are ready for a shift. If you're like many of the terms, you might be incredibly frustrated. And the goal is to never not be frustrated and eliminate that, but to use that frustration and fuel and know that you have a framework and a structure to be able to communicate that, touch it once, dump it, and then move on and know that it's not on you to handle it. And if you're here, I know you guys are determined. So, which one are you? Maybe you're sitting in that place of the curious leader who wonders what's possible with a stronger, more accountable team, but you're putting it on yourself. You're hopping on a plane, you're going to webinars, you're signing up for all the management and leadership programs. You have that deep curiosity, but you're putting it on your shoulders. You're the one who has to figure it out and push it and systematize it. Or maybe you've shifted to that motivated leader when you're ready to make the shift and lead with more structure and clarity, but not led by you, not having to be managed by you. Or maybe you are the frustrated but determined leader who is done with carrying it all, but absolutely committed to building a team that steps up and leads. That's what I hear every single day, steps up and leads. What does that mean? How is that possible? So I want to hear from you all. Put in the chat, where are you? 1, 2, 3. We did this presentation yesterday and somebody said 6. They hear all of them. So that is like 10x. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Some of you are private chatting me, and that's okay. 3, 2, 3, 3. Yeah. Whatever motivation you are, wherever you are at, I fully see you and support you in this. You are one self-managed team away from the time, freedom, and income you actually envisioned when you became an attorney. And guess what, gang? When you became an attorney and you hung your own shingle, first and foremost, you're a business owner. And for whatever reason, the legal space is so behind in that. And it's since COVID, and yes, that always seems to be the reference point, is that it's been so exciting for me to see people taking true curiosity and investing time, money, and energy into intake, into metrics, into KPIs. And these are everyday terms in a law firm that have been for decades in most businesses, but now you're finally here and you're seeing you want to run this thing. And hopefully, all of you have a plan to sell one day. And so, where we're going to go today, we're going to talk about step one, accountability and ownership. Step two, mindsets and habits. Step three, communication mastery. Step four, data and analytics so you can make informed business decision. Step five, freedom. We're going to talk about how to work with me and then open up for Q&A and get you all out of here. And hopefully you're not doing work on a Saturday. So let me just check the chat right now and see if there's any questions that are bubbling up for everyone. Anyone? Yes, absolutely, positively. I will hit that, Tim. So hang with me. Yeah, and it's okay if you guys private chat me. Some people don't want to put that in there. By all means, you could private chat my team here, H&E team as well. All right, let's talk about accountability and ownership. To shift from I will do it myself, how many of you have said that this week to yourself? I'll just do it myself. I'll just do it myself. Or I have to do it because I feel like I've delegated that and it's that balls are being dropped everywhere. That's a common term I hear every single day to moving to my team owns it. And when you say your team owns it, it means you have a critical team member. Some people use terminology office manager, some use a PLA, a professional law firm administrator, whatever that means, that you have one focal point that you can go to and that they are managing it and they're training the rest of the team on how to step up and lead. Accountability means that you have clarity and ownership. Guys, I cannot tell you how many people will tell me that they are lacking clarity in their job description, in their goals, in where to get time with the attorney, the entrepreneur, the leader. This is the main reason that accountability fails because it really starts with that clarity and that ownership, meaning everybody knows exactly what done looks like. And I'm going to challenge you all here today. If you're the law firm leader, the attorney, the entrepreneur, do you even know what done looks like? When I facilitate strategy plans for law firms or onboarding new employees or new team members on there, especially when it comes to the law firm administrator and leader, and we start identifying goals, my question, and I'm going to give this to you guys today, that I always ask on that kickoff call, and there's some of you that have been on that kickoff call that are here today with me. I say, if you do have a magic wand, when you are waving that magic wand in 30 days from now, what would make you absolutely over the moon if the following are accomplished? So I have the attorney do a brain drain and share all the things. And 10 out of 10 times there's process in there somewhere. That the process for the intake team is completely handled, that we have a process from design to sign, or we have a process for whatever it might be. Like, okay, what does that look like, walk like, talk like, act like, behave like on the daily for you to identify that it's done? Deer in the headlights, crickets. I don't know. Yeah, so sometimes it starts with you where you don't know in regards to that. So, yes, when you're feeling in the right place and your team has clarity, expectations are measurable, not assumed. Your team actually become mind readers. And I tell them, they'll say to me, I feel like a professional babysitter. You are. And what an honor to be that. That work moves forward without relying on the attorney, or worse, attorney becoming the bottleneck. Tools that build accountability and ownership is STARTS. No skipping on this, on role clarity with scorecards that I define outcomes. Some of you here today are completely frustrated. I've noticed some of my friends here that are with me. I've gotten emails from you, phone calls from you, and what have you, where you're frustrated still. And what happens? And you start to resent people. But the greatest definition of resentment that my coach always reminds me to hold the mirror up to me is that resentment is when you self abandon. You allow people to delegate back up to you. You allow people to, you tolerate them not time chunking. You allow standing in a weekly meeting that is wasting your precious time and your team's time where they could be working on billable hours, where we have it's just a coffee clutch. There's no conversation. We're not anchoring to weekly reports, KPIs, things of that nature. Most of the time, when I tell people, bring me your job description, this is something we work on in Law Firm Admin Bootcamp. It's one of the paramount modules that we go through is KPIs and job descriptions. And they'll come to me and say, they'll send it to me. I'm like, that's not a job description. That's the ad you replied to on Indeed. How can you possibly do time chunking with focus execution without constant interruptions? Because time chunking is really your job description in motion. So my homework for you all this week is go back, schedule a pizza, schedule a mini workshop with your team. 1 hour, 90 minutes, they'll love it. And have everyone bring their time template. Have everybody bring their job descriptions and start going through that so you can identify KPIs that are attached to role clarity is job description. And that includes you, attorney. And then the time chunking is the bullet points in the job description in motion with intentionality and execution and implementation. And only from there can you get KPIs, key performance indicators, no more than top 3 to 5 for them that'll anchor to the weekly reporting. If you're on intake, that doesn't just mean intake, it also means outbound follow up. What is my goal? 70 outbound phone calls a day, following up with yesterday's leads, last year's leads, existing leads. The phone will make you rich, period. Especially in this day where everyone's hiding out behind automations. I can't tell you how many times a day I hear, well, we're working on our automations. I'm like, I don't give a shit about your automations. Yes, they're helpful. Yes, there is a safety net, but you're hiding out behind technology. Pick up the phone. Like that's what worked a million years ago when there was no Lawmedics and Clio and AI and all these other things. And there are still many businesses that operate without that. It's great, but you still have to make sure if in your job description on intake, it's following up with clients, we're not waiting on the tech person to do the automations. Step 2 with that accountability is also the mindset and the habits. And yes, this means for you too, attorneys, to shift from employees, even you having that mental shift. I am hiring entrepreneurs, not employees. Entrepreneurs mean that they have the sweat equity, they have the mission and the goal and the best interests of the clients. By the way, the boss doesn't write your paycheck, the clients do, because without clients and happy clients, we have no money. And so, really making that shift from employees to entrepreneurs. There's no excuse for people not to even understand what this terminology means in this day and age. And you'll get this in the framework that we're talking about today. The mental shift your team needs, and really, truly, they're desperately wanting, is moving from tell me what to do. They don't like sitting around waiting for you to tell them what to do any more than you resent that they're doing that, and moving into proposed solutions. But my challenge and my invitation for all of you attorneys, if you're still experiencing this, where people are constantly waiting on you to tell them what to do, where are you not giving them the proper time, attention, and feedback in a structured, where are your communication standards to really support them with this? If you are experiencing this, again, I'm going to ask you for something that you're not going to like. Give them your time. So often I will hear from team members, they're saying, well, the attorney's so busy. I can't get access with them. I don't want to bother them. I don't want to burden them. I'm like, you are already bothering them. And the day that they're not busy is the day they're out of business. They're always going to be busy. None of us are, we've all tried to manipulate time. It's not about time management, it's about focus management. So, really making that shift from them being task doers. I don't know about any of you, but that is like my biggest pet peeve when I see people just operating from their tasks, really moving into project managers, thinking about what's coming at us, thinking about what's ahead of us, and not just checking boxes. If any of you have worked with me where people are like, we need to work on a checklist, we need to work on a SOP. I hear this every day. I'm like, time out. No. This is why you're constantly frustrated because you're training people to be task doers if you're working on consistent checklists. It is about creating project managers, workflows. It is about from the opening to the closing of the matter and then some. Making that mental shift that your team needs from compliance, especially in a law firm, there's a lot of lack of confidence and uneasiness and anxiety because it is a law firm and compliance is real. And there's things of it. Yes, there's these things where we have to be in compliance with the Bar Association, malpractice insurance, things of that nature. But the main thing that I hear from people that go through law firm admin bootcamp that the attorneys like, they're like, finally, the critical thinking is here. This word I'm really deeply curious about and playing with this terminology of critical thinking anymore because it's very hard to articulate. It's very hard to explain. But when I can explain it to the team members and when I can explain it to the attorneys, what do you guys love? Case studies, fact patterns, things of that nature. Critical thinking in the way that I'm training team members now, it's show me the math. Show me how you got there. Show me the beginning, the middle, the end, and the why, and where you believe that we can condense time, collapse time, and be able to 2x, 10x this thing. That's critical thinking in motion and in action. Tools that build mindset and habits are emotional regulation under pressure. In my coaching program, I invest in coaches and business development, just like you all are, or else I wouldn't be a very good leader. And my program that we're going through right now is called the regulated leader. Think about that word. How many of you are desperate to have regulated employees in there? Coming in with data, metrics, and facts versus buckets of reasons, excuses, and emotions. You all know you feel it. And as yourself, you can feel where you're just constantly pushing down like a beach ball in the water, your explosions, if you really said what you wanted to say. So, really, the mindset that builds it is having the courageous conversations so we can have clear, concise, well communicated conversations up front that are calm, that allow us to think clear, making sound decisions when clients, deadlines, and attorneys create stress. Those days are never going away. When people tell me, well, when we catch up, the stress, we're never going to be caught up. If you're caught up, it means you have no leads coming in. It means you have no opportunities coming in. You have no prospects. The goal is never to be caught up or get the pipeline cleaned up. I'm like, your pipeline should never cleaned up. You should have 1 to 200 prospects in your pipeline at any given time, even if they came in 7 years ago. They're always in your pipeline until they buy, die, or unsubscribe. This is the mindsets and the habits, making that shift. We don't get freaked out because we have overdue tasks. We don't get freaked out when we wake up in the morning and we have 92 tasks coming at us because we're like, sweet, that's my job description in motion. I know exactly what my day is going to look like. I'm going to plan my work and work my plan. I know these 92 tasks, that 77 of them are going to take up 10% of my time, and the rest of them are going to take up the good chunk of my time because there's revenue and opportunity attached to them. The mindset that builds habits are asking better questions. You guys are all begging for this and wishing for this, but you don't know how to get to, because your team is not, you're not pouring into your team and giving them the gift of coaching and leadership like my attorney did when I was at the tender age of 27 years old. I would not be where I am today. So often people will say to me, how long have you had a camera in my office? And I'm like, because I fully get it and understand it because my attorney gave me the gift of having me shadow I shadowed him for an entire week. I was in a fetal position by morning of day two. I'm like, how are you doing this for another 4 freaking days? So if you have team members, here's another. Hopefully you're taking notes. Go back and have your team members shadow you for an entire week next week. I promise you, they're going to say, I get it. They're going to start asking better questions. Shift from what should I do to what's the next outcome? Where are the options? What's the next step? They're coming to you with better, powerful questions and the question behind the question, because yes, they are becoming your mind readers and your eyes and ears. They not only have your back, but they have your front. They know exactly what's coming at you. If we don't do this today, here's a cause and effect when you're walking into court in 2 weeks, when you're doing trial prep in 2 weeks. We have an empty calendar. We don't have enough leads coming in today, which means cash flow is going to hit the rocks 6 months from now. So they know this because we have systems that make ownership safe, clear expectations, we have feedback loops, and we don't operate anymore in the shame, blame, and weaponizing. We don't operate anymore where we have to defend ourselves. That all is eliminated because we have weekly huddles that eliminate fear of being wrong. We're having adult conversations and walking, talking, and speaking in CEO language. Nobody's ever in trouble. We take full accountability and because we have the authority and permission to wave our hand sooner rather than later when balls are dropped. And we know it or when they're going to be dropped. Which leads into step 3, and I've been talking about this, but communication mastery, replacing got-a-minute interruptions with systematized cadence. Tools that improve communication mastery. What we eliminate is got-a-minute interruptions. Where are we on this? Meetings anymore? Feedback loops, Slack channels, text, whatever you're feeling driving into the office or waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning with that oh crap moment. And frustration followed by that because you're like, why am I the only one thinking about this? Why am I the one who had to catch this? These are golden nuggets for you. Start writing them down. Maybe they're popping in your mind right now. Capture them, name them, write them down. Because what we install in attorneys, this is where you're going to have to stretch yourself a little bit and give your team time. This is the biggest feedback I get from team members. You're frustrated because you're like, the team's falling apart, loops are being dropped, all the things, but you really have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, where are you not doing your part as a leader, not learning how to become a manager, but as a leader, which our job is to pour into our people. At the core, you are hiring human beings, first and foremost, human doing secondly. You have to give them the gift of your time, especially in the personal service industry, which we all are. We are not selling widgets on Amazon. We are not in e-com. We are not in product, even if your product is that you're delivering a trust at the end of the day or a solution, which is a favorable outcome in a divorce or DUI or what have you. You're still delivering. You're in the personal services. Daily huddles that are ran like a locker room huddle. You don't see champion winning teams, a Super Bowl team that makes a plan and goes out on the field and just goes full throttle. No, there's timeouts. There is locker room huddles. There is halftime. They're watching film obsessively afterwards. And because they are giving the grace of power of the pause, debriefs, what worked, what didn't work, where are we going to get jammed up, daily huddles. They ran like a military stand-up meeting, weekly stakeholder meetings and debriefs. where we are debriefing we're going through our data and analytics in every single department. I'm not talking about 3-hour case reviews. That's not what I'm talking about, but this is everybody because everybody in your firm should be a stakeholder. I did not say shareholder, so don't worry about that. And then your data and analytics in action. You delegate authority, not tasks. If many of you are feeling like you have taskmasters on your team, or you feel like people are only focusing on the task, this is your opportunity to pause and give your team the gift of your time, your leadership, your visionary, and go back to the whiteboard. Get in a room, pizza, food, drinks always help, and really get in there and look at where you are missing the boat. If you're feeling that niggle, you're feeling the dropping balls, you're feeling the delegating up, all that. The weekly law firm marketing blueprint for sex. I cannot tell you how many law firms I talk to and they don't have a weekly marketing meeting in this day and age. Like we don't do marketing. We get all our business from referrals. I'm like, this is even more reason that you need to have a weekly marketing meeting, looking at the analytics, where the referrals came from, how many of them their clients actually hired you, what can we do to nurture them, what can we do in law firm Emmett Bootcamp, we have a relationship management system. But so often I just did a 2-week workshop on that for all marketing coordinators working on referrals or what have you. And so many of them are like, yeah, I didn't get this done. The attorney didn't have time to meet with me. I'm like, what about your weekly marketing meeting? Like, they don't want to do it. Weekly marketing meeting, law firm in action, proven, structured, run like a system. And yes, even if you don't have a designated CMO, your client service coordinator, your law firm administrator is your CMO. We have weekly reporting mastery. Yes, mastery. Law firm metrics and analytics in action. We track the right things, the metrics, and we make informed data driven decisions. I cannot tell you how many law firms just track lead to hire. I'm like, there are 7 metrics for your client service coordinator before you get to hire. The only metric, if you're the attorney still doing the consultations and you don't have a non-attorney salesperson in there, that's your metric. That's it. But there are many before that lie on the front lines. And the answer is in the room, and it definitely lies within your client service team. And depending on the layers you have there, if you have an intake coordinator, what have you, a receptionist, many people have different layers within that department. And mastering your KPIs, measuring success in every single solitary role. Job descriptions, going back to the first step that we talked about, time templates and time chunking, and KPIs that ensure clarity. With clarity, we have confidence. And so often I'll hear from the entrepreneurs, I don't have confidence in Susie or Bobby or whoever it is that they can do the job. Well, they don't have confidence because there's lack of clarity. And maybe the lack of clarity starts with you. Maybe you're completely unclear of really truly what a client service team should be doing, going back to these first 2 with the weekly reporting and mastery. And this should be, FYI, led by your team, not you, attorney. The front of the house, the front lines. And that's where we get that accountability. And yes, your team wants accountability. They're desperate for it, and measurable success. So that's for KPIs. And the last one is freedom. You lead the vision, not the operations. How does that sound for many of you? Like that, I can't even imagine that. Real freedom is when decisions don't bottleneck at your desk. So maybe you are working today on this Saturday. Hopefully not. When you go into Monday, I want you to create a sticky note right here and now to start identifying where bottlenecks are stopping and starting at your desk. I even invite you, Bless can put my email address in here. Send me your list by Friday. I'm more than happy to hop on a call with you because your team drives outcomes, not tasks. They don't want tasks. They don't want to be taskmasters. They want to operate and allow you as a visionary, not the firefighter every single day, but you have to stop and give them time. The time to change a tire is not when you're going 90 miles down the highway. And many of you, you're so close. You're so close. If you can just change your mindset to stopping the day to day and giving your team a chunk of time, 1 hour a week, your entire business will be transformed in 30 days or less. Tools that build the law firm freedom for you as an entrepreneur is entrepreneurship training, mindset, confidence, and leadership development, not trained by you, not developed by you, that you can delegate and elevate. Communication playbooks. What goes in Slack, email? What requires a meeting? What qualifies as urgent? How do we batch and bottle updates versus consistent communication ping pong or suffering in silence and we don't find out until it's way too late. Quarterly planning frameworks identifies priorities, KPIs, your power projects that are focused on either people, process, or production, which is the only way we get to profitability. And yes, marketing is in production, and assigned ownership. Performance check-ins that are systematized, they're quarterly, that refine expectations and develop team leadership. Many people make the mistake of doing annual reviews. It is way too late. Again, all that's required from you as a visionary leader and entrepreneur is your time. And I get it. I understand. Like that is where you are in massive deficit and debt when it comes to that energy and time. But you're still spending the time anyways. It's just in a consistent feedback loop or communication ping pong, and you're resenting it because it's not efficient, it's not effective, and it's absolutely not collapsing time. So you say, okay, great. Will this work for my team? Many people make the mistake in thinking that now you have everything you need and you're like, okay, great. I'm going to take the 5 steps. I'm going to get the freedom framework and I'm going to implement it. How many of you have gone to the conferences? You've gotten the leadership tools. You've gotten the roadmap. You've gotten the playbooks. You've gotten the guidebook and you bring them back to your team all excited like that kid with the balloon and they're popping it and nothing happens. And then you begin to resent it or have a story in your head. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to do it. They're not invested, which is not true. If you can trust me for a minute, I want to share with you that you can stop trying to manage everything yourself. How's that going for you? It doesn't work. And this is why you're employing and paying people. So you can build a firm that runs smoothly and operates consistently, grows sustainably, gives you back your time, your freedom, and peace of mind. Guys, in the personal service industry, I don't know how many of you have worked in the product industry in the past, but it is so incredibly systematic. You don't have all the moving players and variables and logistics that come in an e-com world, in an IT world, in a technology world. You're in the personal service industry, which is incredibly systematized. And it absolutely gives you the more time, your team more time to pour into client services. So I'm going to show you and walk you through how I can handhold you through this entire process of building a self-managed team, which we do through the 12-week law firm admin bootcamp. Some of you, your team that are here today, which I love, is that your team's already enrolled in this. And I want for you, if you're not witnessing, not seeing this, it's a great opportunity for you to go back because chances are they are doing this, but guess what's missing? You don't have the daily huddles with them. You don't have the weekly stakeholders meeting with them. You don't know exactly what KPIs and weekly analytics and tracking you should be getting because you can go from buried and burnt out to clear. I don't know about you all, but for me, clarity is like that is my word for the year. I always pick a word for the year. That is if I don't have extreme clarity in every single piece of my life, my anxiety goes up. And the best definition I ever heard of anxiety, the root of all anxiety is lack of information. How many of you can resonate with that? But you can be clear, strategic, and free. Like I intentionally picked those three words for this program. The whole mission of Law Firm Emmett Bootcamp is transforming law firms one employee at a time, because then they can level up. And so go the coach, so go the coachees. And that starts with you as a visionary, but then it also starts with your critical team member. And they can drive accountability operations and protect your time. Like, hello, how freeing is that? If I can do it for my attorney, who was a 10 quick start, if anyone's familiar with the Colby assessment, he was an extreme maverick, if anyone is familiar with the productive index. And he was also an extreme introvert when it came to the Myers-Briggs. But I was able to support, again, so go the coach, so go the coachee. He gave me the gift of pouring into me with the coaching, having the courageous conversations up front, skipping the overwhelm, skipping the confusion. That word I hear probably 500 times a day from team members is confusion. I was confused. I'm confused. I'm missing clarity. How many of you hear that and you want to bash your head against hard services every day because you're like, how much clearer can I be? You need to be. Skip the missteps. So in the 12-week law firm admin boot camp, think about just even the 12 weeks, all incredibly strategically designed in this right shape, fame, and order. Accountability and deadlines, how to make that mindset shift from employee to entrepreneur. Then we go to the mindset, behaviors, and habits of high performing law firm teams, how to effectively lead and facilitate internal and external conversations, meetings, and got a minute. This program's not for you, attorneys. It's for your critical team member or members, depending on your layers of pod squads and departments that you run. Understanding and owning and working your job descriptions, how to create a law firm system without the attorney. I actually pick your biggest bottleneck within a process and walk through how to build that process. Time and money, creating your ideal law firm week. So go the calendar, so go cash flow, period. 9 steps to respectfully focus your boss. My attorney, like I said, 10 quick start. It was like nailing jello to a tree every single day. And I moved from resenting it to taking it as an honor that it was my job to be his production cop. Weekly law firm marketing blueprint for success. Here's another thing, gang. If you do not have a weekly law firm marketing meeting hardwired, same place, same time on your calendar, here's your homework for this week. Get that on your calendar, especially if you have a mindset of we don't market, we get all our business from referrals. You need that more than ever. Weekly reporting mastery, law firm metrics in action, and then mastering your KPIs and measuring success in every single solitary role. Job descriptions in action, time chunked. So, what if my admin isn't ready for this level of responsibility? We've gotten this question. That's where we go into private bonus one. We're going to do a private VIP strategy kickoff call. And this time, we only open up law firm admin bootcamp 3 times a year. Last time we opened it was in December of 2025. You in the program would typically get that with an implementation coach. We have several attorneys and people who've ran law firms across countries. I'm going in personally. For those of you that sign up on this workshop, I'm coming in as your strategic advisor, and I do this for R&D. And I'm only taking on 10 law firms, and I'm going to do this with personally. and work with you and your team. Your job is just to be on this first kickoff call. What if my team gets stuck? We need to be able to troubleshoot. It's not if, they will get stuck. We all roll back into old habits. That's where we will have a private monthly breakdown to breakthrough session every single week for the 12 weeks. And they'll be able to come to live weekly marketing power hour. Like I just said, we just completed 2 weeks of working on your RMS, your relationship management system, and going back to basics and doing community outreach. We're going to have live weekly open coaching and growing hour, which is every Thursday at 2 o'clock Eastern. We do it. So this is for your intake coordinators, your non-attorney salespeople, your client services, and your operations people coming here and talking about what do we do to reduce cancellations, reschedules, no-shows? What do we do when we're following up? How do we get people to pick up the phone? How do we get them to re-engage and come back and sign that engagement agreement or book that consultation? For those here today, on a Saturday with me. Like I said, I'm going in. I am only taking on 10 firms where I'm going to become your strategic advisor and counsel for your support team members. Attorney, your job is going to be let your team implement the things that we talked to get to the 5-step freedom framework. So you're going to have to give them time, your undivided time, but it's going to be collapsing time. We're going to do a monthly breakdown to breakthrough session. And yes, somebody in the chat private messaged me earlier on this. Yes, absolutely. It means that you can have a private session with me. I get this all the time. Do you have a minute? Can I talk to you? I'm a little nervous about blah, blah, blah. You know this. I mean, Rob knows this. He sent me a text the other day. He and I hopped on a phone and then we're having a call next week, which I can't wait for. Yes, I am here to be your strategic counsel, to be your advisor because your people, you can't keep doing this alone. Also, for those of you that sign up, you get lifetime access for the entire academy, which includes 24/7 demand for all of our training modules and the Smart Hire Solution process that we charge $25,000 for. You don't have to pay recruiters anymore. You can have your critical team member. My greatest joy is that somebody showed up on open coaching hour on Thursday this week and they're like, I followed the entire Smart Hire Solution process. And we just hired our new attorney and they start on April 1st. I'm like, I'm so excited. Nothing makes me happier that you can actually take our registered trademark process and be able to implement this. And no longer does your attorney have to carry the hiring load. And then we're going to do a revenue leak audit, which my favorite is intake. I'm incredibly passionate. Like I said, most people have conversions from lead to hire. You're missing so much opportunity. On average, conservatively, we are finding at least $25,000 a month that your intake coordinator, and yes, somebody asked this question earlier, what if they're virtual? What if I have overseas people? My favorite thing every Thursday is when we have people from all over the world in this meeting where they're coming and they're sharing that they got their cancellation rate reduced, that with them doing follow-up calls, that they got 2 additional appointments booked on the calendar. So we're going to do a revenue leak audit with your our standard offer when we open up our cards that you get lifetime access. I'm a very big proponent of this. This becomes part of the onboarding process for law firms for every new team member they bring on. You get a private VIP strategy kickoff call with our onboarding and implementation coach. Many of you work with Pam here. Many of you worked with Lainey or Roz. You get a private monthly breakdown to breakthrough session for 12 weeks. Throughout the program, you get live weekly coaching and growing hour every Thursday, law firm marketing power every Tuesday, unlimited seats for the firm. Many of you, how many of you hate, especially your software and drafting companies that charge your CRMs or what have you per person? I can't stand that personally within my business, and don't want to do it to my clients. You get a private VIP strategy kickoff call with me. For those of you that are going to go on this journey with me, I'm going back in. We're closing the doors next week for Law Firm Admin Bootcamp. And many of you have been on the waiting list since December, and we're not opening back up until September because I want to intentionally work myself with not my team members with 10 firms. And then we'll do the private monthly breakdown to breakthrough session. That is only for this fast action bonus for this webinar today. The smart hire solution you get for life. I have 15 modules that I walk you through exactly what we do in this insane 1.2% unemployment rate in the legal space right now. You get that for life. In the revenue leak audit, we're going to get that strategy session calendared immediately. So if you were to buy all these separately, it'd be $136,000 of almost 29 years of my intellectual property. But for today, we're doing it for $4,997. And yes, we have installment payments. I got this question in the email this morning of what it was going to cost and if we do payments. Yes, we're incredibly aware and responsible for people's budgets. And my goal is that you are absolutely going to be able to pay this within the 30 days of working together. So this is a question I want to ask you guys. Where are you sitting now? What's your current situation? Are you the bottleneck? Are you frustrated that nothing moves without you? Or you don't find out that it didn't move because they were waiting on you, but you never knew they were waiting on you? Where are you currently sitting right now? If you want to join me on this journey, here's how you go to secure your seat. The second you sign up, and this is my favorite part. If you show up and do the work for 12 weeks and you're not satisfied, 100% refund. You have absolutely nothing to lose. So you show up on the kickoff call as a visionary, as a leader, and then your team does the work. Yes, we can monitor. I will have attorneys send me an email all the time. Where's my team at? What are they learning? I'm like, you just answered your own question. I log in. I'm like, they haven't even clicked on the link. They haven't showed up for anything. So this is the accountability that you're all desperate for. You don't have to push it. You don't have to monitor. And if they show up, 100% money back guarantee, period. So here's where you go. You enroll. You choose what's best for you. You put in your information. You finish the new member intake form. Guys, this is the most important part. I hear from people every day say that was incredibly cathartic. That was this your opportunity to pour out your heart and soul and hold nothing back. I want every detail. And your team member is going to do the same too. And then you'll get an email from us and you'll get your welcome. You'll get purchase of confirmation, and then you'll get your login. You go in here, you log in, you're getting an email for us to give you everybody on the team that you want in here. You might not know who, and you might just have one critical team member. We will discover and uncover on our strategy kickoff call. Exactly. Remember, you have lifetime access, so don't panic about this. The 12-week is going to kick off when we decide it does. They're going to go in and begin and start the course. There's a welcome video from me. There's a syllabus. There's a 12-week checklist. And as you can see here, there's over 457 lessons in here once we complete the foundational 12-week bootcamp. That's why I love the lifetime access for you all today. So tonight, if you act before midnight tonight, you're getting me personally. I'm going in as your strategic advisor for you and your team. And one thing we consistently say in the law firm admin bootcamp is for me, for you, for us, and removing you from that because the answer is in the room. It's on your front lines. You're just not strategizing and systematizing the communication. And that is really the root because people are not clear. So I have some questions in here, Daniel. I know you raised your hand. Feel free to put it in the chat or any questions that you have. Yes, this will move your team out of reactive mode. Absolutely. And moving them into intentionality. What if I enroll my firm and discover they are not the right fit and have to fire? Oh, I love this question, Brian. Thank you so much for asking this. This is going to happen. And so, guess what? You are already feeling this, thinking this. This is why you asked the question. And I can tell you through this process, people either self select out or you have to make the decision that they're not the right fit. And this is one of the strategic byproducts. I'm not even going to call it like a breakdown. It is a strategic byproduct because how many of you have experiences that your soul knows if you have an underperforming team. However, I'm going to invite you to shift your mindset because the flip side, what does happen is they're like, I am blown away. They've been sitting there all along looking for the opportunity, looking for to be rewarded with the grace of your time. And they rise above and they were a sleeping giant sitting in your firm. So it uncovers everything, gang. I'm going to put a huge disclaimer on that. The thing that I love about Law Firm Admin Bootcamp and the thing that scares the shit out of people the most is that it shines a flashlight on everything, including you, attorney, where you're hiding out. You're ditching meetings with your team. You're not replying to emails from your clients. You're not delegating your email to your team member. You're not recording the videos or whatever you need to do for marketing. You're not launching the webinar or the workshop that you need for lead generation. You're not getting out there. You're not sharing your like secret list with your team members. And so it shines a flashlight everywhere, including on us as visionaries and entrepreneurs. I have my marketing team here today. They will tell you, like, Bless is here today. She sent me an email yesterday. She's like, where's your podcast? Where's your pocket coach? And she'll remind me of the why. If you don't get me these videos and these marketing, it's going to impact our lead generation. Do you like leads? And I love it. I've empowered my team to hold me accountable too. So yes, this does happen throughout the process, but maybe it's going to help your team step up and lead too. So here's what you are going to experience: a self-management team. You're going to trust your systems and your people. And guys, it starts with trust. And I will hear this from team members all the time. My attorney doesn't trust me. My attorney's a control freak. They won't let go and let us step up and lead. And I have your back. Don't worry. This program is not to train your people to come marching in your office and ask for a raise and be demanding. You know, people, my name of my company is Hiring and Empowering. And I heard from people early in the mid 90s, when I renamed the company, they're like, I don't know if I want an empowered team. Doesn't it mean they're going to march in my office and ask for a raise? Like, no, they're going to step up and lead. And so I tell the team, your attorney's never going to let go and trust. Your attorney's always going to be a control freak until they have full confidence that you, and we do monthly mindset training, and I just did one on it was a 2-part series on how to increase your confidence. And I started the first module when I did the monthly mindset with the team. I said, you don't wake up when you're not confident one day. The core ingredient in confidence is courage. Think about you all. Maybe you're a trial attorney. Maybe you recorded your first video and you're like, this is new, this is uncertain, what have you. The only way out is through. So I tell the team, you have to have the courage to have the communication like a CEO and go to your attorney and say, close their door and say, do you like money? Do you like clients? Do you want freedom? Do you want everyone to stop delegating up to you? Yes, yes, yes. Hopefully it's how you answered all those questions. And you say, great. Here is what I need you to do. Here's where I need you to allow me to step up and try it on. Here's how I'm going to come back and report to you. And this is how you build confidence. But the team members, your law firm leaders, have to have the courage to use their voice. And here's your job, attorney, is not to shut them down. And so there's a vicious cycle that I see in law firms happening, or they say, I tried that. And I'm like, you didn't try it because you don't have the intended outcome and your attorney doesn't have the intended outcome. Let's try it a different way because they're still white knuckling everything and they're going to white knuckle everything until you give them confidence that they can let go. They're attorneys. They are trained skeptics. They are trained to believe nothing. They are trained to trust nothing. This is why this is their craft. This is their superpower. This is their genius zone. But until you give them the evidence that they can, which comes typically in data, reporting, systems, production, and process. So let's reverse engineer this puppy and stop just saying that your attorney is a control freak and you saying, I can't trust my people, because how's that going? You still don't have the freedom you deserve. So we're going to begin to delegate decisions, experience consistency. And yes, I am never lobbying for you to let go of control. You are always in control, but you're in control of the vision and the board of directors in giving seal of approval, direction, redirection, approval, what have you, but you're not white knuckling everything and pushing everything upstream that feels like with cinder blocks tied to your ankles every single freaking day. You get to reclaim your time and mental. This is the one. People are always tracking time and money. For me anymore, I don't know about you all, but mine is about my nervous system regulation. They need a regulated leader, but you need regulated team members. And it's all about energy and your mental bandwidth, because you can't get whacked by 2x4s when you walk into the office and find out we dropped that ball, this ball, that ball, what have you, and then walk into a conference room and close a $10,000 client. Money is energy. And you're responsible for the energy you bring in the room and you leave in the room. And this is when I train your team members first and foremost in that module number one, because it's the only way you're going to increase profitability. Some of you aren't even at the point to know your profit margins or even care about profitability because you're in survival mode and you're only living in a place called revenue and expenses. We need to get out of there and get into the profitability zone. So this is how you get started to work with us today. Me, personally, as your strategic advisor for you, for me, for us, for your team, so you can have everything that you are proud of. Because if this program, all it did was give you a team that actually follows through, it would absolutely be worth it. If you buy back your time, Dan Martell, if any of you, I'm a huge fan, just went through his 4-day AI challenge and freed up at a minimum 10 hours a week of attorney time with the communication ping pong, whether it's in text, Slack channel, Teams, and or the water cooler or what have you. Imagine. Now, here's the thing, attorneys, when you start to buy back your time and get back your time, it's the part where you're not going to maybe like, depending on where you are on the Colby and the visionary and the disc and all those scales. But if you're not leading as a high D, as a driver, if you're not craving the entrepreneurial visionary time, you're not going to like it when your team comes back to you and says, great, you just got out of this, you delegated these on your job description. You're no longer in here. You just popped back a day, 2 days a week or what have you. Now you have to write that book. Now you have to launch that podcast. Now you need to start doing those workshops or seminars. Now you need to start going playing golf with referral sources and what have you. And that might sound heavenly, but when push comes to shove and you have a KPI attached to it, I have attorneys all the time like, dang, they're ruthless. They're holding me accountable just as much. And I'm like, be careful what you wish for sometimes. What if the only thing it did was give your admin the confidence to lead? They started holding themselves differently, dressing differently. We talk a lot in the program about dressing for success and how that really instills confidence. Imagine if you walked in and saw that your team member completely from head to toe, the way they carry themselves, the way they're dressed, the way they walk, talk, act, behave. And they're starting to increase your confidence, which that's the only way that you start to let go and trust. Wouldn't it be worth it? This program absolutely does all of that and more, but your team member have to show up. So a question I had in here is yes, what if you have doubts? You want your team to do that, but what if my team resists accountability and deadlines? I have very rarely, in 30 years almost, had team members that resist accountability and deadlines when it is communicated the why behind it. People typically resist accountability and deadlines because they're just land like that. There is no context attached to it. There's no context in what's in it for them. So it's very rare. And yes, going back to Brian's earlier question, there might truly be people that are so stuck in their heels, so stubborn, and they are resisting this. And chances are there are a huge revenue leak, anyways. They're the biggest drain on your culture. If they're resisting it, my experience is typically they're hiding something and unconsciously, but that is just an indicator that they need to get off the bus. Self-select. Most of them self-select out because when you start shining the flashlight on everything, people either lean in and rise above, or they barriers and walls and armor come up. And yes, you can break those down. But sometimes it's just like when you guys hire all these business coaches and consultants and they start getting in there and looking at it. It's why most people don't look at their books, why they don't look at their finances, even if your accounting team sends them to you, because you're like, I don't even want to see it because we expect the worst and then we have to do something about it. So, yes, there are people that do that, but this is where week one, we're going to go through accountability, deadlines, mindsets, and behaviors. And it's going to be set 2 weeks from now. It's going to be set. And it's going to be incredibly clear where the resistance lie. And we're either going to break through or it's going to break down. But either way, it's got to be solved. What if your admin can't make decisions without you? How many does this resonate with? We're going to talk about how to create a law firm system without the attorney and identify. You're actually going to start tracking all of the interruptions, distractions, and every week in your weekly stakeholders meeting, give them to your team members. Every single week that we go through, even though you're not their attorney, yes, I'm going to answer this question that I just got private chat. How do I know what they're learning? I create personally a 2 to 3, maybe 5. I like to talk, as you know, video that I record personally and the team members to send it to. And it's me doing a recap just like this on a video. I'm like, all right, here's what your team learned. Here's what we're talking about. Here's what you should be expecting from them. And here's your part, attorney, where you're going to have to stretch a little bit and give them time on the calendar. Participate in the daily huddle. Let them hold you accountable. Delegate your email, the things of it that you're going to have to try on. Just like when you go to a dressing room at a department store, you put it on. You might take it home. You might wear it and you're like, it doesn't fit. This is not, I need a bigger size. I need a smaller size, or I need a whole different cut. It's the exact same thing. We're going to try everything on. Always easier to edit than create. I want to share with you, Rebecca. Rebecca and Bless, I don't know if you could put in the chat the podcast that I recorded with Rebecca. Rebecca's my favorite story. And Rebecca came in, she had owned her practice for 25 months, left a big firm, started her practice, not even on a card table in the kitchen. Literally, she'll hear her say on the podcast that she created this in her closet. She was working in her closet within her bedroom. But coming there, and it was her and a part-time person that left a big firm or what have you. Victoria was doing intake. Victoria was doing paralegal work. Victoria was doing everything. And Rebecca said, I'm worried about Victoria. She's getting burned out. She keeps yesing me. She keeps saying, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can do that. I need her to start tracking her time. She doesn't understand what it means. So Victoria and I worked through law firm admin boot camp. It was within like 2 weeks. And Victoria was like, holy smokes. I can't do all this. But she loved Rebecca. She never wanted to disappoint her and say no. And I'm like, Victoria, you're harming the growth of the business if you don't say no. She had this mindset block in regards to, I needed to do everything, but she wasn't the right person for every role. So then comes Caleb. We bring Caleb in to just handle intake. And Victoria's like, I can't do it. I have a baby at home. I'm part time. I'm more so good on opening the new matters in the CRM, doing the rating decisions. They do VA work, what have you. And here comes Caleb. He came in and took full ownership of the intake team, the systems, the KPI, and the team accountability. Again, see the themes going through law firm admin boot camp. And then very quickly through the 12 weeks became the operational backbone that allowed the attorney to step out of the day to day. He and Victoria alone, I think they just hired, so they're going on almost 3 years of business now. And I think they just hired their 13th person. That's also every single one of them are through law firm admin boot camp. Caleb grew into, he is now the director of operations, and he moved from support staff to a trusted strategic partner in running the firm. Rebecca's spending time, they just brought on their third attorney. Rebecca's spending all her time doing podcasts, speaking engagements. I was just at a legal conference and she was on stage speaking there. Zero marketing, never had time for it, never had any desire for it. She is living the true entrepreneurial dream. It was her and a part-time admin person that came in, and through the law firm admin bootcamp, Victoria finally got the voice to say, I can't do it all. No fear that she was disappointing her attorney. They're missing massive opportunities in really bringing, delegating, and elevating. So, any questions that we did not handle today? I know we covered a lot. I know I tried to get you out of here in 1 hour. Let me see if there's any questions. Thank you, Bless, for putting Rebecca's podcast in there. It's one of my all-time favorites to listen to there. Any other? I don't see any. I'm guilty of that. Um, Set office hours for your employees. They can schedule with a block in the morning or afternoon. Absolutely. I love this so much. So, yes, scheduling time for your daily huddles and office hours are great. I'm going to push back a tiny bit for office hours. Office hours are phenomenal in addition to the daily huddle. So, office hours are typically for post engagement work for the most part. So when people are moving matters and moving files where they could come in and clarify and verify, that is the main thing that you need is you're teaching your team members how to talk like CEOs. So when they come in and they want to say, okay, great, here's where I'm jammed up, here's where I'm stuck, here's where I believe my right move. I want to make certain your daily huddle is for identifying your top three. Here are the top three things that I'm going to accomplish for today. Here's the revenue attached to it. It might just be one. They might be saying to you, okay, Brian, okay, Tim, what have you, here's your number one. There's $30,000 fee attaches. I know you don't love reviewing documents. I know you don't want to do the research or what have you. I've 80% to, I have what have you. I'm going to sit there, take your cell phone away from you, get you a cup of coffee, get you a sandwich, and going to make sure that you sit there. It's going to take you 45 minutes and boom, I can charge the $30,000 or what have you. They speak into your listening in a way that makes a difference for you. So open office hours are great, but they have to be really truly for God minutes and clarifying and verifying about moving matters forward. They are not great to get hammered and peppered with questions. Your confidence is never going to increase, and your willingness to delegate and elevate is never going to be there. It's just you're getting peppered in a very condensed time versus throughout the day. How do I transition my team from reactive execution to actual full operational ownership? I love this question and I get it all the time. First and foremost, it starts with us. And I know that's not the answer, but I'm going to go back and say this for the probably 900th time. You have to give your team, first and foremost, authority, responsibility, and permission to actually take things to execution and take full ownership of that. And then in addition, you have to give them time for the daily huddles. I am not going to back down on that one, gang. I don't care if it's you driving on the phone, going to court or what have you. Same place, same time every single day. No more than 15 to 30 minutes top, depending on the members of your team. I have one big law firm right now where they actually do it in regards to departments because they have, I think, 7 offices, what have you. But yes, that's how, first and foremost, it starts with breaking bread and having a conversation with them. I know I've been frustrated. I know that there's balls constantly being dropped. I know that I'm the bottleneck. I'm giving you full authority and permission to identify and come to me of every department and every single solitary workflow or service area we have and make a proposed solution of where I'm the biggest problem. Then we're going to identify exactly where we're at in regards to execution and full operational ownership. So it is so simple, guys, where you're executing everything in operations, right? Whether it's lead generation, lead conversion, marketing, employee handbooks, if it's workflow management, what have you, having that pipeline from initial phone call to, lead generation to hopefully not only final payment, but we have Google reviews, hopefully a subscription membership program, and things of that nature to keep the life cycle of that and lifetime value of that client up. So I hope that helps. You got to make sure, number one, that you identify what operational ownership means to you and what departments and compartments. In the old days, people would call that an organizational chart in regards to that and what that means for you. It's everything about what you're doing of closing deals and marketing. Everything else is operations. Okay, so I got another one here. Our workflow is a continuous pipeline from initial phone call to final payment. The pipeline is made up of stages. Each stage has a specific task in it to complete the work in that stage and move the matter to the next stage. Awesome. You have talked about task stewards to project managers, which my partner heard and has now taken the stance that tasks need to be eliminated. In his mind, our administrative team just needs, let me go up here 1 second. I can't read the rest of this. I don't know if the chat, here we go. They just need to handle it because they know what to do inherently based on years of experience. I disagree because without tasks, the team members don't know what to do to move the matter to the next stage. I love this. So great clarification. First and foremost, the key point is here, we have a workflow. We have stages within that workflow. We have tasks within that workflow. They are clear, concise, identified, documented, and they're a workflow. They're in the CRM. So I love this conversation here, Gabe, because that's exactly it. That is moving out of task doers because it's systematized within stages, sub stages, and within a workflow. That is not a task doer. So I love that clarification because language in a CRM are tasks. We use HubSpot, we use Lawmatics, we use Clio, and yes, that is not a task doer. So absolutely you need the tasks that are built within the stages. But I love this second part of here. So I'm 100% agree with you. You always need tasks is language that is used in a database management. And this is your team's job description in motion. So I love that. So the administrator has no idea what needs to be done in this stage and thus has no way to measure the progress. If all the administrator is there to do is to sign the matter, why hire them? I can do that myself. If we're relying on institutional knowledge, sometimes tribal knowledge, why have an administrator? My paralegal and I already know what needs to be done. I love this question. Think of it as a case manager. So we have everything lined up, right? But in the daily huddle, people inherently don't do what they're doing, and we need to get deeply curious about this. So I love this question, Gabe, because that's the whole premise of it. As your administrator, this is worth every single dollar you pay them and then some, because they're the production cop. You're not always going to do your part. Daryl's not always going to do his part. Jared's not always going to do his part. Susie, the paralegal's not always going to do their part. They are a production cop. They're a process cop. So some big firms call this a case manager. So if it was me and I'm going in there every day, I'm getting my cup of coffee, daily huddles at 8:30 every morning. I get in at 8. I'm pulling up Clio or Asana or the CRM, whatever, and I'm looking at yesterday, what everyone said their top 3 was for today, going to the CRM to make sure that it's done. I'm looking at overdue tasks for each person there and getting deeply curious. And if your administrator gets in the habit of this every day, they're going to see the patterns and they're going to know exactly where the breakdown is in regards to that. So is it between initial contact to booking the initial consultation because the attorneys are booked out 3 weeks and clients are upset or what have you? Is it between design and sign? Is it between opening a matter? They'll see the patterns, they'll see the themes. They're going to the daily huddle very clear on where the breakdowns are. I see that probate is consistently having, they had 92 tasks assigned to them yesterday. And that's when I do love that term. It's different than a task doer and a task master versus an assignment within a workflow and a CRM. So they're worth every single penny. Yes, you can do that yourself. Yes, your paralegal can do that. You don't have time to manage it and to facilitate it. Hopefully you and your paralegal are in conference rooms consulting existing or prospective clients. Hopefully, this is why you want to delegate the operations. So they're coming every single day with the State of the Union. They know exactly. So probate, really quick, I put an hour meeting on our calendar for Friday. I order pizza. We're going to meet there, and this is what we're doing. Boom. So you need this position. You can, especially in the personal service industry, they're managing email and they're saying, okay, great. They're meeting with intake and client service coordinator to see. We got 17 calls yesterday from existing clients and 3 from prospective clients. Ding, ding, ding. We have a marketing problem, number 1. Number 2, we have a process and production problem because we all know if a client's calling us, we're in trouble because unless they're returning a phone call and they're giving us the data and the information we need to move the matter forward towards closing. So you need this position. It could be that your administrator is not fully stepping up in his or her role. And that's where the deep curiosity lies. If there's overdue tasks, if there's too many upcoming tasks assigned to one department, one person, what have you. And we're seeing that when we know that this task, which might be opening a matter, takes 11 minutes. We might know that drafting documents on average takes 2.5 hours or what have you for version one. And we see that Susie has 14 of these, and there's only 7 or 8 hours in the day, or Susie's going to be on vacation next week, and she has 14 trusts that are coming at her. We have a problem. It's not just about today. It's not just about this week. They're looking at the month and ahead. And that's not a good use of your time as a visionary and the entrepreneur and the attorney. The administrator needs the task list. Absolutely. That is their job description in motion, and they have to be the production cop. And they have to be the cheerleader and the coach for the team when the team gets jammed up, not if. And there's certain times where they will get jammed up. So for you, Gabe, in particular, you're in law firm admin boot camp, your team's in law firm admin boot camp. They were doing great at one point. If they're not doing great, this is what I love about this program and the lifetime value of it. We need to hop on a call. So I would ask you to really identify where you're not seeing your law firm administrator. No shame, blame picking on anyone, but what parts of it are not feeling like they're being the production cop, and what parts of it may be the task management and the CRM management and the workflow management, they're doing beautifully, they're doing perfectly. But there's other pieces of it where they're not, they need to delegate and elevate, and they really need to rise above. This part's working now. So it's never one and done and one and wow. Now what's the next version of this job description and or this person? Quarterly employee growth plans, process improvement, doing quarterly strategic retreats. So we're not always just firefighting every single day, but we're anchoring to the vision, getting your client services and intake on board, the line of delineation between pre-engagement, that's all front of the house, to post-engagement. Where are you feeling the most pain? And it might be both parts. So you need to, yeah, I love that. We like the system, but we got busy and we need a refresh. Amen. Like that's what happens. That's what I love about this program. We implement, we're doing great. We're always going to need a reset and a refresh, right? All of us in our departments and where we're at. Sometimes we're doing really great as a visionary, the entrepreneur, and then we down an attorney, down a paralegal, what have you. And this is the biggest piece that I love about this program. And I'll say this, and then I know we're out of time here, but when we lose people, this came out of this week's open coaching. You know, so many people are in sick season right now. Everybody's been sick. This department, we had a huge conversation. And I think, bless, I just recorded a pocket coach or a podcast about sick season because it's real. And then what about when we're firing season or quitting season or what have you? We're never going to be quote unquote caught up. So, how do we plan? And what is our relief plan, our restructure plan when we are down a person? That we don't all just put our firefighter hats on, but this is when we need to go back to the think tank and go back to the room. We're down an attorney, we're down a paralegal, we're down a salesperson, what have you. Where is the opportunity for us to collapse time, condense our process, and be able to delegate and elevate? Because 9 out of 10 times when we get kicked in the teeth with someone leaving, it's an opportunity for us to really evaluate that job description and see, especially in this AI driven world, especially in this CR and workflow driven world, especially with virtual assistants overseas and what have you, and keep asking yourself the powerful question: what parts of this really require an attorney? And by and large, what requires an attorney is walking into a courtroom and giving legal advice. Everything else can be done by a non-attorney, not to discredit your law degree. Those are the two most important parts of an attorney's job description. So it's really an opportunity for that. So if you're feeling like you got busy, if you feel like we got kicked in the teeth with somebody leaving, having to have sick season, whatever it might be, maternity leaves, paternity leaves, all the things, it's a gift to stop, drop, and roll and put that oxygen mask on yourself first. And that's what I really love about the program, because we can't just subscribe to we're busy. When we are feeling like we're super busy is the time that we have to stop for the power of the pause, because that's when things start. Frustration increases, burnout increases, and balls get dropped. All right. So I look forward to meeting with you if you're not in law firm Emmett Boot Camp already. Sign up and let's get your VIP call scheduled. If you are already in the program, get a call scheduled with me personally to re-anchor to your plan, and not only just a refresh, because hopefully what you were already implemented was working, is a time for delegation elevation. All right, we'll send the recording. We'll send the 5-step freedom framework for you. Grab the podcast with Rebecca. I think it's incredibly inspiring and sharing with you what is possible if you put your team, delegate your team to me and allow me to become their strategic advisor. All right, hopefully no working. Hopefully you're going to get outside. It's nice. It's almost 80 degrees here in Denver, which is crazy. And have a great Saturday. And thank you for being with me today.